So we are live today for an Easter-inspired cooking demo. We're going to be making, let's see if I can get this right. What are we making? Peanut butter chocolate Rice Krispie eggs, Easter eggs. Okay, so we're making a sort of healthy dessert for Easter. Just to give you another idea, if you are in search of an Easter dessert, these are really fun. They require just a few simple ingredients and come together in just a few simple steps. It's a really fun thing to make if you have kids in the kitchen with you, cooking for Easter.
Or friends.
Or friends. So before we get started, I'll introduce my sous chef who's here with me today. This is Lauren, and she will be in the kitchen with me today as we make our peanut butter chocolate Rice Crisp Easter eggs. So all you need to cook this recipe, we haven't done like a full recipe live in a while, so we're gonna cook this recipe from start to finish, and the full recipe will be posted in the Healthy Cooking Community Facebook group tomorrow. So that's where you'll be able to access the complete recipe if you want it. So all we need is, well, first the ingredients. All we need is peanut butter, maple syrup, coconut oil or butter will also work, vanilla extract, and the Cocoa Rice Crisp cereal. So this is what I'm using. So these are actually chocolate Rice Krispies, Cocoa Rice Crisps. These, I just want to point out, these specifically say that they're gluten-free. So rice generally is gluten-free, but you don't want to just assume that something is gluten-free if you need to be gluten-free because of an intolerance or an allergy. Always read the label, read the ingredients to make sure that it is actually gluten-free. You also don't need to use Cocoa Rice Crisps. You can use plain Rice Crisps if you can't find the chocolate ones or you want to just use the plain ones. We're going to be dipping these in chocolate also, so you'll get chocolate one way or the other. And going chocolate and peanut butter, you can't really go wrong. All right, so those are the ingredients we need, and chocolate chips. So you can use any kind of chocolate chips, milk chocolate, semi-sweet, dark chocolate, your preference. And we're just going to be melting the chocolate down to drizzle or dip your Easter eggs in. And cooking tools wise, you just need a small saucepan that we're going to use to melt all the ingredients together, some sort of spatula or stirring tool, and then a bowl some sort of microwave safe bowl to microwave the chocolate in to melt it. You can also melt the chocolate on the stove, but you don't need to. The microwave works just fine, and I think it's a little bit easier. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right, so we will get started. So I have my little stove here so that I can be in front of you. All right, so we want our pot over like a medium, closer to low heat, because we don't want the ingredients to burn. We just want them to really come together and melt together. And that's only gonna take like a minute or two. So just on a nice low heat, we're adding half a cup of peanut butter, and I'm using a natural peanut butter, right? So that just means that there's no added sugar, no added oil. So whenever you're buying a nut butter, try to look for ones that the ingredients are just whatever the kind of nut or seed is, right? Just peanuts and salt. You want to look out for added sugars, look out for hydrogenated oils, things like that. We don't need that. The peanut butter is delicious, as is with just peanuts and salt.
Delicious and nutritious.
Yes. Delicious and nutritious. Yes. Okay, so we have our half a cup of peanut butter in there. You want to hold that for me?
Yes, ma'am. These.
Okay. Then a quarter cup of maple syrup. I have not tried this with honey, but you should be able to use honey in this recipe as an alternative to maple syrup. We need a half of a tablespoon of coconut oil. Right. And And
should I start stirring?
yeah, you can stir. And half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right. So we're using here maple syrup as our sweetener, and I just want to, I've talked about added sugars before. We had a long conversation about sugar in a past live that we did. And so while maple syrup is a more natural sweetener, right, because it's just maple syrup with nothing added, it's a natural sweetener, but it is still sugar, right? So this isn't like this isn't a sugar-free recipe. So that's why when I say it's a sort of healthier dessert, right, we're using pretty fresh kind of, whole ingredients, but there is still sugar in this. We're using coconut oil. Like I said, you can also use butter. Coconut oil is also a saturated fat like butter, but because it is from a plant, right, from coconut, it doesn't have cholesterol. So that's like the biggest difference. There's a lot of hoopla out there about coconut oil. That's the biggest difference, in my opinion, is just they're both saturated fats. One has cholesterol, which is the butter, and the other doesn't, and that's the coconut oil. So this is melting together very nicely. Like I said, it really only takes like a minute or two. You just need the ingredients to melt down together. And you don't want it to get too hot. It shouldn't be bubbling or anything. So once it's, I'm sorry, you just hold that there. So once it's totally melted together, which is hard to show you, but just turn off the heat so it doesn't get too hot. The other thing that you can add here, depending on if your peanut butter is salted or not, you might want to add a little pinch of salt into the mixture. Or what was your idea?
Or you can add coarser salt at the end on the top.
Yes.
To get a little nice salted peanut butter chocolate taste.
Situation. Yeah. So we don't have any coarse salt on hand today, but as you'll see as we finish these, you could definitely sprinkle some like thick flaky salt on the top of the chocolate to get that nice salted chocolate peanut butter thing going on. Should we add a pinch of salt?
Sure.
We'll add a small pinch of salt. Our peanut butter is salted, so we won't add too much, but little pinch of salt. And the salt just helps in general, using salt, right, just helps to bring out more flavor. So adding the salt here, we're not trying to make it salty, but we're just trying to kind of, elevate all of the other flavors in the mixture.
That looks great.
Okay, so once that's all mixed together, turn off the heat, right? And then we're adding our cocoa rice crisps. So we want 1.5 cups of the cocoa rice crisps. Just dump those right in and mix it up. So just gently folding them, trying not to like crush the cereal too much. Just gently fold it all together so that the cereal is completely coated.
Lovely.
Okay.
This smells great, everybody.
It does smell delicious. Adding the vanilla in there just adds like another bit. Vanilla, even though it's not actually sweet, it does kind of add like a sweetness also. All right, so while you're mixing that together, I'm gonna put the chocolate in the microwave. So to microwave the chocolate, just make sure, if you're doing it in the microwave, make sure you're using a microwave-safe bowl. Just put it in the microwave on like 20 to 30 second increments. Take it out and keep stirring it, because you actually want to take the chocolate out when it's at like 90% melted, right? So you still see some chunks in there, and as you are stirring it through, you just kind of like stir the heat through the mixture and it'll help to melt it completely. You'd rather that than
it can burn pretty
overcooking,
easily, right?
Yeah, it can burn pretty easily. So you want to take it out when it's like 90% melted and just stir through.
How's that looking?
Is that good? That looks beautiful. We want to use just a baking sheet. You can do it on a plate too, but some flat surface where you can rest these, because they're going to go in the fridge to, harden up. So I'm just using a baking sheet, and I lined it with parchment paper so that the Easter eggs don't stick to it. So I'm just giving the chocolate a little stir. I'm going to put it back in there. Okay. So you could also, like I said, you could also take the mixture out of here and use the same pot and melt the chocolate on the stove top if you want. That's another option. And so now all we're gonna do with our mixture here, we can put this aside and take that off the chocolate.
Delicious, wow.
You tell them what kind of chocolate we're using.
This is 70% cocoa chocolate disc. So it's dark chocolate. And
Yes.
Jen taught me before this live that above 70% is when you really get the health benefits of chocolate. Right. So you're eating chocolate and you're also being a little healthy.
Yes. So there is a lot of kind of like, you may have heard that dark chocolate is healthy, right? So it's not like healthy, right? But it's definitely a healthier option compared to milk chocolate because there's less, it doesn't use the cream like you would have in milk chocolate, so there's less fat in it, right? It's more pure chocolate. It also really matters the quality of the chocolate that you're using. The higher quality dark chocolate is going to have more of those antioxidants that you can find in dark chocolate. Okay, so all we need to do now is form our Rice Crisp mixture into little Easter eggs. So there's not really like a real measurement here. You can make the Easter eggs as big or as small as you want. Really up to you. But this is where it can be really fun to get kids involved if you have kids at home with you cooking for Easter. All we need to do, and the mixture really shouldn't be too hot at this point because it's been sitting for a bit, and we just had it on a low heat, right? So you just want to really kind of form it into an Easter egg shape. So whatever size you want, whatever that looks like to you.
Oh God. Can I start?
You're gonna drizzle?
I'll wait for you to form the eggs.
Oh, okay.
I should form some eggs too.
Yeah, you can form some eggs too. So it's just a little bit sticky, but
How much should I take?
that's okay.
Like a handful?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a small egg.
Oh.
So make your eggs however big you want.
This is a cute little baby egg.
Yeah, I think I'm making mine pretty large. Okay.
If kids are involved, they'll have fun with this, or adult kids like me.
Yeah. And it's a nice dessert too because it's kind of like an individual, you don't have to slice anything, it's just a little individual dessert. Okay. Then you can, like Lauren did, wash your hands first because of the C word, so that then you can happily lick your fingers after doing this. So once the little Easter eggs are all formed, it's time to add the chocolate. And I will show you what our little So those are our little Easter eggs. I'm just going to put them on the tray here. So there are a few ways that you can go about adding the chocolate. We experimented before with a few different ways. You can drizzle the chocolate on, you can dip the eggs in the chocolate, you can dip half the eggs in the chocolate. So really just kind of get creative however you want to add the chocolate onto them. Oh, this chocolate's drizzling nicely.
Yes.
All right, so Lauren is drizzling chocolate over the eggs.
Really, however you put it on, you can't go wrong. You're adding chocolate to a peanut butter cluster. It's not going to go bad, no?
Yeah, and Lauren's using a fork to drizzle. So using a fork is my preferred utensil to use if I'm drizzling. So definitely recommend that if that's how you want to add your chocolate on.
Ooh, these look good.
These do look good. I'll walk here to show you what's going on. So just nicely drizzling So once the chocolate is on, you're gonna just put the whole tray right in the fridge. They need like 30 minutes to, just to, to harden up. So the chocolate hardens up and also so the eggs themselves harden up because they're still a little bit warm, right? So they're kind of like delicate. So once they go in the fridge, they'll get more firm. Okay, so these are ones that are already done. So we had kind of experimented, like this one is completely covered in chocolate, so you could do it that way. And then we have some like Lauren just did that are just drizzled. You can also just dip half of them into the chocolate. That's a lot easier, I think, than coating the whole thing in chocolate. That was a little bit of a mess. But just have fun with it, get creative, decorate them however you want. You could add, before you put them in the fridge, once you drizzle the chocolate on, you could add, like Lauren suggested, flaky salt. You could add sprinkles, right? So if you want to make them kind of colorful for Easter, you could add some sprinkles on top. Anything you want. So that's it. That's our peanut butter chocolate Rice Crisp Easter eggs. And you want to eat one?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this one.
All right. Cheers. 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 Oh.
Oh. Those are really good.
With the little Easter egg real quick. Happy Easter. And that's it.